Hey guys, welcome back to Pixel Street Videos. I am John Hansen, and this is our review for the Saints Row Reboot. This game released in 2022. I got this code from working with GamePer, but I didn't handle the review over there, so I will leave a link in the description if you would rather just read Ricky Fretch's thoughts on the game. So yeah, before we get started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and let's get going. The Saints Row Reboot is a game that really hasn't had my attention since it was announced. From the beginning, I thought it looked bland and a little like a generic GTA clone. I had played and enjoyed Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4, and I liked the insanity of those games. Granted, there wasn't many areas that Volition could go to after those, especially considering that they literally went into hell and they were in a simulation and all that, so a reboot really makes sense after the mistake that they had with the Agents of Mayhem game. Playing through Saints Row, I'm a little conflicted. On one hand, I find moments filled with chaos and insanity to be fun and engaging, kind of like a stupid and awesome action movie, like Fast and Furious and stuff like that. But on the other hand, there's quite a few issues I had to contend with that really made my time playing through it a bigger chore than it needed to be. I got my review code for Saints Row on Xbox Series X, and from what I've heard from Ricky over on GamePer is that I have had a lot more issues than he had. Hopefully most of these are fixed with the day one patch, but I had to completely restart the game multiple times from in-game stores just completely freezing it, UI elements not showing up and making missions impassable, important characters completely disappearing, and enemies spawning outside of the mission play zone so that I couldn't even attack them. I also would have like random pop-ups every now and then that an ally was dying out of nowhere even though I was nowhere near them, and I would look and they were falling through the map. So yeah, just really weird stuff like that. I also had this one where the objective car I was supposed to follow was melded with another car. Luckily, destroying that other car didn't fail me the mission. Just when that driver decided to drive off the road into the water is when it all got messed up. Another one of my biggest complaints is no matter how much I adjust my display settings, I regularly get these awful light glares that at times can make the game really hard to see. Luckily, like I said, a day one patch could fix most of these issues, so hopefully none of you that try the game have to deal with this, but getting the review for this was kind of annoying. It wasn't the worst experience I've ever had in a game, but it definitely happened a lot more than it really should have. Focusing on the actual intended content, Saints Row is a little bit better than I was expecting. There's a really big variety of the mission types, and I never found myself getting tired of these objectives. That being said, gunplay felt off pretty much the entire time to me. The aiming reticle with an Xbox controller felt really clunky to get my aim right, and the aim assist was spotty at best, with you needing essentially to be already aimed perfectly on them for it to snap to them. There was no real assist there in many cases. Guns never really felt that amazing to me either, but I also didn't do a lot of exploration. I really focused on the main story to get this out in time. I just didn't get a chance to see a lot of interesting weapons. I got through the main story with pretty basic guns, which is kind of disappointing when I think back to my times playing Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4 and having things like the dubstep gun and the penetrator, which were just, crazy weapons. One of the more funnier sides to the game to me is the vehicles. On one hand, every car crash hits like a tank, and it deals very heavy damage to whatever you are trying to hit. On the other side, these paper-thin cars get thrown around by broken fire hydrants and blow up very easily. It was never something that made me despise getting into a vehicle, but it felt off pretty much the entire time. I will say drifting and the actual movement of the cars feels pretty good. It's no, amazing racing game or anything, but moving around the world in vehicles in this game felt pretty good. I really enjoyed drifting around corners once I got the hang of it. It's kind of funny and frustrating how stupid the AI is behind the wheel. I mentioned the mission earlier with the AI that drove into the river and killed themselves, but you will constantly see cars pull out in front of you for no reason and have the occasional idiot just continuously backing up and driving into the same wall. They do some really stupid things. The story is short and not nearly as good as previous games, in my opinion. I found myself not caring about the cast of characters really at all when compared to the original Saints gang. They were never a masterclass for character design and backstory in those older games, but I just really found Nina, Kev, and Eli to be very boring support characters. The leaders of the enemy gangs are pretty lame too, to the point that I was relieved that the story is pretty short because I just got tired of hearing from them. Going through the main missions took me about 6 hours, I would guess, so you don't have to spend too much time focusing on them. I would really recommend just blazing through them as fast as you can and then get to exploring the world and enjoying the side content. The thing that stood out the most to me with the missions is it seems that every single mission has unique dialogue recorded by your character, which is a great touch. It doesn't matter what you're doing, they will have something unique to say during that mission, and I really like that. The new map itself is fine, it's nothing special. It's definitely not bad though. I'm not a big fan of driving around desert environments, but most of your time is spent in the city here, so it's not terrible. While there are plenty of activities to do, not all of them are particularly fun. For example, finding information boards that only reveal facts about that location are really lame. Like, they're not interesting at all. But then you find these side modes like insurance fraud, which makes a return, and you have a blast blowing up cars and throwing yourself into traffic. Overall, Saints Row might not be as flamboyant and interesting as Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4, but it's a fine enough game. The biggest issues revolve around the mini bugs and glitches I dealt with, which hopefully are taken care of with a day one patch. Cars are a little finicky, but the pure chaos caused from them being faster tanks that blow up easily is really fun in most cases. I don't see it winning any awards, it's not in contention for my game of the year, and I wouldn't be surprised if fans that like those old Saint Rose games just don't really play it for that long, but it's an enjoyable enough game. Playing solo doesn't necessarily get old, but I imagine I would probably have enjoyed this a lot more if I got more chance to play it in co-op. The game is at its best when it's being high-paced and stupid. However, there are a few cracks that show in its general stability and the few moments where it tries to slow you down. Luckily, those moments are few and far between. If you're looking for something new to play and have a friend for co-op, I recommend it. Just don't go in with too high expectations. Our score for Saints Row 2022 is 6 out of 10. So that is my thoughts on Saints Row. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you like it. Comment down below your thoughts on Saints Row. If you're planning on getting it, if you've already played it, just tell me your overall thoughts on it. Also, subscribe to see any of our future videos, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye!